Welcome to this week's webisode of The Better Half. I am Kendra D. St. Aubin, not Vince Morata, back in my normal chair today. And of course, this is Katie Hartley, and we're going to talk about what's been going on this week.
Thanks, Kendra. Well, welcome back. Roger Clemens making headlines this week, being acquitted on all charges of perjury and lying to Congress in an investigation of performance-enhancing drugs. A very emotional Clemens at his press conference, tearing up, crying at certain points. And this has been a very long trial. Kendra, now that it's over, what are your thoughts?
I think it was a complete waste of our money. You know what I mean? I have a really hard time with the government going this much into steroid issues when we have so many other problems going on that it seemed much more serious and more pressing for the public as a whole rather than just Roger Clemens and steroids. I think he was emotional because he's thanking God that he just got off the hook. Yeah. I do think he's guilty. I don't know, whatever. You can't prove it. Who cares? Move on, waste some money. But in my heart, I feel like he's probably guilty of something in some way, shape, or form.
And it wasn't necessarily about him taking steroids. It was about him lying and obstructing justice in this way of trying to find out more about this whole steroids thing. I think it's a big blow to the athletes and the government getting involved in this kind of thing. I don't think that it did anything good for prosecuting athletes who are taking steroids illegally. So I was kind of sad to see that. But, the next question is, would you vote for him in the Hall of Fame?
I would not. Fortunately for Roger, I don't get a vote.
Right.
Would you?
No, I would not vote for him. I think that in this case, character just weighs too heavily, and character trumps talent in this one for me.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Well, the next baseball story we actually have is the Arizona Diamondbacks struggling as of late. And we've kind of talked about, is it the pitching versus the offense? And will this kind of thing divide a clubhouse?
Well, I think it absolutely can divide a clubhouse. I think baseball, as much as we call it a team sport, is very individual. It's the pitcher versus the hitter. It's the outfielder making the throw. Is he going to commit an error? It's so individual to me. It's not necessarily a team sport in that perspective. So I think it can. If the offense struggles, they had 21 scoreless inning streak. If they struggle and the pitching is dominating, which they have been this month, how do you not start to get irritated when you're the pitchers? Now, the one thing you have to remember is, as far as the clubhouse goes, usually the pitchers try not to get irritated because they know at some point they're going to suck,
right,
and the hitters are going to have to pick them up. So I think everybody tries to stay calm and cool and collected, but when you've got numbers like Chris Young has been putting up since he came off the DL, that starts to wear on you as a pitcher.
7 hits in 49 at-bats and only 1 RBI in June. Yikes. Parra's been really struggling. Goldschmidt is either really hot and really on or ice cold. There's no real in between with him. And it would be hard for me to not start to get annoyed with that kind of thing, especially guys that were used to being so productive, lacking. But my take on it is, as far as dividing a clubhouse goes, if this kind of thing is going to get involved in the chemistry in the clubhouse, you have got bigger problems.
Well, and I think that's where Kirk Gibson comes in.
Yeah,
I think he does play a huge role in this as far as controlling that clubhouse and keeping guys on an even keel. And I think, as far as we can see sort of from the outside, I think he does a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can turn things around. Kendra, let's move on to another story, this one in the NBA. Metta World Peace added on Twitter again. What a dummy. Tweeting after or during Game 3, no brain, all beard, of course, referring to James Harden and the famous elbow. Can you be more dumb than this? Like, what should happen to him?
Well, first of all, his agent or publicist or manager needs to cancel his Twitter account. Or someone needs to control him, almost like we saw Paul Bissonnette, with the NHL and the Coyotes sort of say, put the kibosh on it. But Metta World Peace, what a tool. Has he not clearly he's not learned his lesson to come out and rip somebody that, yes, James Harden did not have a good Game 3. He hasn't had a great finals series. But seriously, Metta, first of all, you're not in the finals. So you might just want to pipe down.
Right. You're at home watching the game, so strike one against you. And what a cowardly, tactless move to go after an athlete on Twitter. I just think it's so childish and so immature, except I don't really expect anything else from Metta World Peace. But I think his Twitter account should be shut down. I'd like to see someone step in and say, you know what, enough. You're just pissing people off and causing too much trouble.
Or how about the public? Just quit following him.
Yeah.
Why don't we just step up and, because he doesn't really even say anything funny. A lot of people, follow people because at least they're funny. I mean, he's completely not worth my time.
Yeah.
I don't even think I do follow him. So everybody else?
Well, I'm going to unfollow him.
There you go.
Too. Let's wrap with good move, bad move. Spike Lee helping Mike Tyson tell his story on Broadway. Good move, bad move.
I think it's a good move in the sense that I like that Mike Tyson's story will be told. I think it could be interesting. I think he's actually turned the corner. I was talking to my husband about this one day, and he's like, "Are you joking me?" I'm like, "Hey, I follow him on Twitter. He feels like he's sort of turned a corner here, like he's doing good things with his life now." But I'm not sure if it'll make it a good Broadway play. But I do like that his story is going to be told.
Kidra, bad move. Bad move on this, Spike Lee. When you're using words like raw and filthy to describe a Broadway show, you got some problems. You got some issues.
So you don't think that's going to be entertainment?
I think it'll be good. I think it's like a walking tabloid.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear the stories about Robin Givens and Brad Pitt, and I want to hear about his cocaine addiction. I want to hear all the juicy gossip. But bad move on Spike Lee. I'm a little disappointed in that.
I'll be interested to see how that turns out. I think it'd be a better movie, better for the big screen than the live Broadway acting. And who's going to play Mike Tyson?
Yikes.
That could be interesting.
I don't know. Well, lesson of today, let's all unfollow Metta World Peace on Twitter. Until next week, you can follow her on Twitter at Kinder620. You can follow me at FunKatie620. We'll see you next week on another webisode of The Better Half.